أنا سعيدة جدا يا فندم باللقاء، خصوصا في الفترة اللي احنا دلوقتي يمكن بعد الانتخابات وفي نظرة للعرب يمكن سلبية، ولكن النهارده تغطيتنا للحفلة ديت بتدي صورة مختلفة وانطباع إيجابي عن أهمية العرب ومساعدتهم ومشاركتهم وتواجدهم هنا بشكل فعال في المجتمع الأمريكي. احنا بس ما احناش مجرد ناس عايشة بنتطلع للحصول على خدمات من الولايات الامريكيه، ولكن احنا بنخدم فعلا المجتمع الامريكي. تشرفت بلقاء حضرتك يا فندم، واتمنى لكم يا رب كل التوفيق والامنيات الجميله، ويا رب ان شاء الله ربنا يكون معاكم في تحقيق كل اهدافكم. وشكرا استاذ ماهر، وتشرفت بلقاء حضرتك وتمنياتي بالنجاح. شكرا مشاهدينا، اهلا.
شكرا.
I
hope we have a very interesting and important program to present to you. And it would be better and best presented if we all take our seats, pay attention, especially to the video that is going to run in a few minutes. So welcome everyone to the 10th Annual Scholarship Gala of the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects. This is their 10th anniversary. It's a special night indeed. So أهلا وسهلا and welcome to everyone. Someone is very happy and is ready to start partying, but not yet. There will be dance, there will be music, and music is always present, especially with Maurice Rashid, beautiful playing and music in the reception area. But right now, I'd like to start the night with a video introducing Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects, and I'd like to ask the Metro D to turn down the lights so we can see the projection better. So here you have the video about the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects.
To have had the privilege of being part of this outstanding organization. Association and the new president. Thank you. Can we have the lights on? Thank you.
I need the lights. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Assalamu alaikum, distinguished guests of honor, AAE members, friends, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of AAEA, local and national leadership, I welcome you all to the 10th Annual Scholarship Gala. I'm going to just make two statements before I introduce the President to welcome you. One statement: back in 2006, when we tried to bring our community, our engineers and architects and our leaders together, we couldn't bring more than 80 people, and we lost money, collected donated money to finance the first annual gala. Right now, and since 2009, we had offered 34 scholarships. 34 scholarships. Thank you to our engineers, thank you to our leaders, thank you to our sponsors. We have great speakers and we have great people. We have over 300 people tonight. And I thank you very much for your support. And please be part of us, join us. And I want you to welcome and give a big hand to first our members of AAEA and our leaders, and also welcome our new president, Dr. Suhail. Dr. Suhail, thank you. Hello, engineers. So this is the peaceful transfer of power, and the Arab American Engineering Association doesn't happen very often. And, can you hear me? Yeah, I said this is the peaceful transfer of power. It took 2 minutes to transfer power in the Arab American Engineering Association. Tonight, I want to really thank Mr. Maher Abdelqader for the amazing job he did in the last 2 years. He took our organization from about 150 members to about 400 plus members. And he is leaving me with a significant surplus in the budget to waste or to use for the next 2 years. Tonight, the night is about our students. Congratulations to all of our students. And I want to thank our sponsors. And I really want to thank HDR, WSP, and HACS for the continuous support they keep providing for this organization. Thank you. I want to also thank our distinguished speakers. We have a night full of good things for you, from technical presentations to music to the comedians. So I would like you to enjoy the night. And I will bring Garita here to introduce our first speaker of the night. Thank you guys, and enjoy the night.
Thank you, Suhail. And I'd like also to thank the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects for having me for the second consecutive year, to present and MC this beautiful, beautiful gala. We are also gathered in a beautiful ballroom with a beautiful view from this side. I know everybody is looking this side, so we're trying to match the beauty from this side to the beauty in the back, where the real beautiful lights reflect on the windows. So it seems like, and it's actually a reality, we have now a new president-elect, and he promises to rebuild our crumbling infrastructure. I'm not talking politics, by the way, and you're gonna see. The most recent infrastructure report card from the American Society of Civil Engineers said we would need to spend $3.6 trillion to repair our country's crumbling roads, rails, pipes, and power grids. So, my dear Arab American engineers and architects, despite the feeling that the nation is more divided than ever, it seems like you, at the center of a rare issue that draws bipartisan agreement, which is rebuilding America, you, those who know how to build bridges of steel and concrete, will be the solution for building bridges of communication and understanding between all Americans once we rebuild our infrastructure and put millions of people to work as we rebuild it. So, congratulations to all of us for having great engineers, and especially Arab American engineers. Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects Tri-State area is celebrating its 10th anniversary. It has proven its success and sustainability due to its important goals of promoting cooperation and mutual assistance among its members while opening its doors to all architects, engineers, and information technology professionals. It is non-for-profit, non-political, and non-religious organization that has an important part today, more than ever, to establish a presence in the Tri-State area and show what Arab Americans truly are. Proud Americans, first and foremost, who will never forget or deny their Arabic background. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome again to the 10th Annual Scholarship Gala. And without further ado, I'd like to present to you our guest speakers. One of the goals of the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects is to conduct academic review, courses, and technical seminars to update members' knowledge on the latest technologies and regulations. These courses, and I appreciate everybody in the back to just pay attention for a few minutes, these courses do not only impact the association's members, it does also impact non-engineers, non-architects, or IT experts as well. People just like me from different backgrounds, and there are many people here in this beautiful gathering that do not come from an engineering background. Those lectures and speeches of our guest speakers who inform us on important issues, like our next speaker who has extensive expertise with all areas of the environmental engineering discipline. He has presented all over the country on sustainability issues and has appeared on numerous media outlets touting sustainability efforts and appeared in a documentary detailing Hurricane Sandy's impact on the MTA New York City transit system with a focus on climate change. Ladies and gentlemen, we are all eyes and ears to Thomas Abdallah's presentation. Mr. Abdallah is the Chief Environmental Engineer at MTA New York City Transit. Welcome.
Thank you very much. Thank you for inviting me. Just a little bit about me. I am can I hold it?
Yes, absolutely.
Sure. Okay, I feel much better with a mic in my hand. So I am with MTA New York City Transit. We, of course, run the subway system and the bus system here in New York City. I have been with the Environmental Engineering Division since April of 1987, so therefore I will be celebrating my 30th year in the with the MTA next year. I'm originally a chemical engineer I graduated from Rutgers University. And I would like to mention that my family heritage, my grandparents on both sides were from Lebanon, from the Beirut area. And I'm very proud of that. My father was an engineer for Parsons Brinckerhoff for over 33 and a half years. And I think if there would be anybody, if he were here today, I think he would be probably as proud as anybody in the room. My mom was a teacher, just taught in the New York City system. And in addition to being an engineer with New York City Transit, I'm an adjunct professor at Columbia University in the Sustainability Management Program. Most of my responsibilities at MTA include including sustainable initiatives in our infrastructure projects. We have green roofs, we have LEED buildings, we have solar panels. We recycle over 90% of our construction and demolition debris. New York City Transit moves 6.5 million people sustainably every day, so that people can go into Manhattan and work for this very vital city we have. One thing about being in the sustainability business, since Wednesday morning, a lot of people have been asking me, are you worried about climate change? Or, are you concerned that things are going to start, going away from sustainability? And I absolutely have no concern whatsoever. And the reason is because engineers and architects, they're the ones that put the sustainability initiatives into all of our capital projects. The civil engineers who design with materials from a recycled content, architects who allow natural lighting, mechanical engineers who provide energy efficient HVAC systems, and so on and so on. As an environmental engineer, I have 80 people working for me of various engineering disciplines and even some non-engineering disciplines. So I'm not concerned at all because it is the engineering profession that has grabbed the new and advanced technologies and brought them into mainstream engineering projects. So I have absolutely no concern whatsoever, and I think if I have a message for any of the young children, or young students out there, is that continue to work hard. The only thing that happened is the challenge got harder, and that's okay because that will make it more exciting. One of the things about my almost 30 years at MTA, New York City Transit, is not one day have I woke up in the morning thinking, oh, I got to go to work today. I look forward to it. I think the best thing that you can accomplish in life is to have a job or a career that you look forward to and that you can be yourself. And I wish that for anyone. And as part of my job in being an engineer and a professor, my job is to pass on my knowledge to the next generation so that they can pass it on to the next generation. So I'm very proud to be here. Thank you to the Arab American Engineers and Architects Association, or did I get that mixed up? I think, but anyway, AAAEA, okay, thank you. All of the sponsors, I've worked with every single one of you. You do great work. So, and just, Maher, thank you for inviting me. And have a very great night and enjoy the rest of the program. Thanks.
I'm going to ask Mr. Abdallah to remain on stage and ask the President, Sohail Bahaisi, to step on the stage. He would like to present you an award. And congratulations. And I was right, those lectures, those speeches are very important and interesting, not only for engineers. Thank you so much, and congratulations. So we have our next speaker. I think the sound is a little bit loud, isn't it? I want to make sure that everybody, you guys are engineers, so you should know better than I do. Any sound engineers, probably. You're the sound engineer here. Perfect. So our next guest speaker is the Acting Chief Engineer and Director of Major Projects for the New York State Department of Transportation. He is responsible for overseeing the design and construction of the department's $2.5 billion annual highway and bridge program. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Mr. Wahid Albert. If you want to build highways and bridges, this is the way to do it.
Good evening. That bio was a little outdated. That's what you count on your secretary sometime to send. Well, I am Assistant Commissioner and Chief Engineer for New York State DOT. I've been in that position since June. But to go back, and my background is a little different than Tom. I come from Syria. Both of my parents couldn't read or write. They had two sons. One is a doctor and one is an engineer. They were farmers. So I came to this country as an 18-year-old to go to college. I went to the University of Buffalo. I think I saw snow on TV, but when I flying over, and I kept saying, why is this town so white? It was January. And I had to start to learn English. I didn't speak English. But I knew one thing. I wanted to be an engineer, a civil engineer, and I wanted to succeed. And that's really was the driving force behind me coming to this country, is I wanted to be a civil engineer. I wanted to succeed. I remember my mother giving me $8,000 and sewed it to the inside of my shirt because she thought I'm gonna lose it. And I came to JFK with trying to catch a flight to Buffalo, New York, and I missed my flight. I didn't realize there were two airports, the flight to Buffalo from LaGuardia, which I didn't really know. But anyway, I had to spend the night in the airport and waited till the morning. Didn't sleep because I was afraid somebody's gonna take my $8,000. That's all I had for the next 4 years. And I learned English in one semester, and I got into the civil engineering department. Obviously, I didn't get a lot of A's. I got some B's. I got a lot of C's. It was a D or two in there. This is really a message for the young people that if you have the drive, you can just keep going. Don't get discouraged. Not everybody gets A's like Suhail. So I came out of college and I really didn't know where to find a job. I went back to Syria to get engaged to somebody that I went to high school with. And I didn't want to lose her, even though I didn't have any money, but I figured we'll get engaged and I'll get a job in America and then we can get married. So I became a transportation construction inspector right out of college for a couple of months, and then I became a junior engineer with New York State DOT. I wanted to design bridges, but at the beginning, I didn't really get in to the structure office. I got into the highway side of the house. But that's okay. I was designing roadways for 5, 6 years, but my goal was to go to the bridge office, which I did. I was a PE at that time, and I designed my first bridge in the late 80s, and that's really the beginning of a really strong career at DOT, because that was really my love, is bridges. But a couple of months later, I went down, I got married, and she's been my wife for 32 years. This past Friday, we have 3 beautiful children. 2 boys, 29, 27, and my daughter is 24. They're all college graduates, and they all have their jobs. And the middle one is a civil engineer, PE, specializing in bridges. So really my career designing bridges, I know there's no clicker, so I got to count on to go. I'm going to just show you a few of the bridges that I designed at DOT, either myself or under my supervision as a design supervisor. This is a steel deck arch. There were twins on 219 over Cattaraugus Creek, south of Buffalo, New York. This is the first SPUI in New York State. That's just really I'm proud of, because I've traveled to different states to see how they design the highway SPUIs and learn what not to do. And this one is just north of Albany, Route 7 over I-87, and this is the first and the only SPUI in New York State where the single point interchange is up on top on the bridge. Keep going. I was the design supervisor on Prospect Mountain Interchange, just outside of Binghamton. Many long, curved steel structures with high piers, complicated area. And this is all, by the way, just our in-house design at New York State DOT. I love the consulting world, but we do have in-house design for the young engineers if you ever want a job. When I-35 in Minnesota truss collapsed in 2007, I took the lead in developing some analysis tools to how to design and analyze vessel plates in New York. And I served on NCHRP panel that included Dr. John Kaliki, Ed Wasserman. For the people in the business, may know who these people are. This is the bridge, the truss when on the ground. This is where we went to Turner Fairbanks Research Center outside of Washington. But really and designing bridges is you know, it's something that's very important, and we think we're successful at it. But in order for the bosses to see you, you really need to perform in emergencies at the state government. So this is really the beginning of what I thought my career started taking off. During, bad news, Irene, hurricane, and Lee, we were able to design 2 bridges that collapsed, that went from NIS, when we visited the site on August 31st, 2011, to brand new bridge, October 20th. If you do the math, that's design and construction, in about 6-7 weeks. Keep going. That was the other bridge that collapsed, partially collapsed, and same August 20. And this is really innovation, The bridge fell down. We needed to put a bridge up that was over just about 100 foot. We had the old Inverset system that were removed from a bridge in Saratoga area, 9P over I-87, and they were sitting in the yard doing nothing. And I knew of them, and we went, we cleaned them up, we painted them, and we made a bridge out of them. And that was also in about 6 weeks, period. We built an abutment, and really the superstructure is a recycled Inverset that were just sitting in the yard doing nothing. First design build in New York State was also a product of that same storm, the replacement of Route 42 over the West Scale in Greene County, south of Albany. And the same thing, I like first. I've done a lot of firsts at New York State DOT. I'm always thinking outside the box, and that's really for you engineers, young engineers. I've been accused of having no box. But you really should be thinking outside the box. Don't just look at the standards and follow, especially if you're an owner. I know consultants sometimes are bound by the owner, what they need to do, but always think outside the box. And examples of what I've done. This is really the one that kind of spiked my career. I was put in charge of a $1.2 billion program called New York Works. Governor Cuomo wanted to put something together to create jobs. We were challenged toward the end of 2011, and he wanted all the work to be out by the summertime. So we were able to put out 112 bridge deck replacement projects, complete from scoping to construction between January of 2012 and May of 2012. So we met that challenge. There were scatters throughout the state. Those were the design-build bridges, and those were the design-bid-build bridges. Also, as part of that program, we came up with the first ultra-high-performance concrete link slab in the U.S. It's a bridge outside west of Binghamton. Two simple span curved structure. We replaced the deck, and instead of putting back a joint, we came up with an 18-inch wide ultra-high performance concrete joint that acted that way, and the bridge is continuous for life load, and we don't have a joint. And that was the first one that was done in the country. And it looks like that now. You can't tell. One of the 16 decks we built as accelerated construction. This is one that we built in the weekend. We closed on a Friday night and we opened some Monday morning before rush hour. And I also utilize ultra-high performance concrete for the joints. And this is what we looked like late Sunday, midday Sunday. And putting the ultra-high performance concrete in the joints to tie the precast panels. And that's what the bridge looked like on Monday morning. And that's me there on the left. Supervised construction too. In addition to doing the design, I supervised all construction for 112 bridges. And this is really was the highlight of the last 3 years. Critical bridges over water. It was a $580 million that were funded by FEMA to replace bridges that are critical to the critical to the roadways. To make, FEMA decided that they would fund to replace bridges before they fall down, which usually they react to emergencies. But if you can prove that those bridges are critical and it's susceptible to collapse during storms, they gave us money to do that. And we did 105 bridges throughout the state. They were all replacement bridges. And really the acceleration of it, we started it in October 2013. And we needed to finish design approval documents April 15, 2014, which is about 6 months, 105 bridges, and we submitted the applications with the design reports. We had to do everything from soil borings all the way to the FEMA funding application, and we got a lot of consultant help, in addition to in-house staff, we had a lot of consultant help with these. And we were surveying in the middle of the winter. It was a very challenging design reports were the simplified kind for bridge replacement. And by the way, we're trying to make that as standards right now for New York State DOT. Bridge replacement will soon follow the simplified process. 68 of those bridges completed. Keep going. These are pictures of completed bridges or bridges in construction. They're all different kinds throughout the state. So that takes me to what are we doing at DOT right now? Kind of quick. We have a governor budget that $100 billion for infrastructure investments. It's about $21 billion over 5-year plan. We have $1.8 billion in new state and federal construction resources. We have many programs. Bridge New York is about $1 billion to replace and rehab and maintain at least 200 vital state and local bridges. Half of that would be to local government through competitive process. We started that already. The consulting community is big on that. We'll be utilizing a lot of the consultant world on these. Pave New York, it's just pavement, not a lot of reconstruction, but just more preservation. We have $500 million for extreme weather infrastructure hardening, and $200 million for upstate airport economic development and revitalization. We're giving grants to airports to modernize and expand. And we already gave 2 grants to Elmira and Rochester, and we have a few more to give by the end of the year. Again, this is Bridge New York. We had application that came in for the first 2 years to spend $200 million from the locals. We got 229 bridge and 366 culvert applications. We're about done going through those, and hopefully soon we'll be awarding the projects to the counties. Obviously, the evaluation had locals, DOT, and ESD members. What we're trying to do at DOT now is really streamlining and accelerating project delivery. We've been doing that for a few years, and we're going to continue to do that. Environmental process should not take as long as it does right now. We're obviously into alternate procurement, design build as an example. Construction has to be completed quickly. It's a culture change to us, and hopefully the consulting community will help us get there. This just continuous improvement. AEIS really should not take 7 years to do. We're targeting a time frame of less than 2 years. There's a project in Buffalo, we're doing that, Skajakwara, a $75 million job that we're about to be done with EIS. I-81, replacement of the big viaduct through Syracuse, that's over $1 billion project, and the EIS also about to get done, and we already did the Gateway project. Design build, obviously, best value, keep going. Schedule, etc., is very important. What's coming up right now is 3 contracts are currently under procurement, worth $195 million, and there's 3 additional potential projects that's been identified already, and they're worth about $330 million that we will be putting out soon. So that's really, I know I went over, but I have we had a long career. And what else I have? Long Island Third Track, that's a big project down here. We developed the underpasses, the 7 underpasses that were designed in my office. They were really my idea back in February, and they will be progressing toward a design build soon, and that's a big project that will be led by MTA, obviously. Have anything else? I think this is the last slide, right? So, thank you.
Thank you. I'd like Dr. Sohail Bahas, please remain. Mr. Wahid Albert, please remain on stage. Please remain on stage. Dr. Sohail would like to present you a word of recognition for obviously a very impressive career. Thank you again. Thank you for our guest speaker, Mr. Wahid Albert, and for our president, and our last guest speaker, last but definitely not least, has specifically explained to me how to pronounce his last name, and he had a very good tip for me. He said, Star Ace. And I assume you were definitely, sir, an A star for being the chief engineer and the director of engineering for the Port Authority of New York and New Jersey. Ladies and gentlemen, let's all welcome Mr. James Starrs.
Thank you. And she said it perfectly. I want to thank the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects for inviting me to this event. And I want to congratulate especially all the scholarship winners, and to them, and especially to the young engineers. You're our future. You're the future of this industry. Find your passion. Find what you love. And be the leaders of the future. So we need you. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of the Port Authority program as to how we're going to deal with some of the challenges. Earlier, the MC, she said $3.6 trillion that we're going to have to spend in the future to deal with a D+ rating that ASCE said the state of the infrastructure is, and that is true. So I'm going to take you through a little bit of what the Port Authority's program is. Next slide. So the first half of the last century, we had a transportation crisis in our region, in the country, but especially in our region. There were no direct rail connections between New York and New Jersey.
I'd like the attention of the whole ballroom. This is very important. People, please, in the back and in the front, everybody, please, let's pay attention. Thank you.
Thank you. I promise I'll be quick and get you to your dinner. So there was no direct rail links between New York and New Jersey at the beginning of the century. The beginning of the automobile industry and the airline industry required infrastructure to be built. So for 50 years, this problem existed and infrastructure had to be built to deal with it. The Port Authority was created in 1921 to deal with some of these things, at least in our region, and embarked on a construction program. And that picture on the slide shows some of the infrastructure that was built. The George Washington Bridge, the path tunnels, which were actually the Hudson-Manhattan Railroad, not built by the Port Authority, but ultimately taken over by it. The bus terminal, the original one, which was built in 1950. And the Bayonne Bridge, which was built in 1931. Next slide. So, meeting the needs of a rapidly changing world, the public used these facilities as soon as they were in service. The Holland Tunnel on the left top, the bus terminal on the right. The Holland Tunnel traffic, you see on the bottom left, not a new invention, traffic at the Holland Tunnel. It's been going on for some time. So, these are some of the things that we have to deal with now in aging infrastructure. These are structures that are 50 years old, sometimes 100 years old. So how will the Port Authority deal with these? Next slide. We have a capital plan of $27.6 billion that is being reprioritized this year. And we prioritize our projects by state of good repair, revenue producing, system enhancing, mandatory, law required projects, and security required projects. Obviously, all the agencies deal with security projects, especially after 9/11. And state of good repair projects need continuous funding. And we try to focus on maintaining transportation infrastructure and enhancing deliverability. Next slide. So some initiatives to get us there. Expanding value engineering and peer reviews. We go to the industry. We go to the engineers and architects, some of which are here tonight, to try to help us build in the most efficient way. Life cycle cost evaluations to assure that the options and the choices we're making are the most efficient. Small routine projects, which we have a lot of, we're trying to make them more efficient and deliver them more efficiently. Technology enhancements like BIM, alternate contracting strategies. We're doing 2 triple Ps, LaGuardia Airport and the Goethals Bridge. And design build. We're doing more and more design build. Next slide. Our aviation facilities. 2 of the most visible projects we're doing is a brand new LaGuardia Airport. And we're also rebuilding Terminal A at Newark Airport. But we'll always do our bread and butter work, the runways, the taxiways, the electrical infrastructure that's continuing to age. Next slide. Newark Terminal A redevelopment. There'll be 9 projects between 16 and 20, ultimately ending in a new garage and a 1 million square foot terminal at Terminal A. Next slide. LaGuardia will be completely redeveloped, and it's ongoing right now. That's a triple P, the second one we're doing. It's a 1 million, Terminal B, the central terminal, will be a 1 million square foot terminal. We've already completed some of the initial work, the East End substation and a West End garage. The roadways will be completely rebuilt. And we're working with Delta to rebuild their terminals at C and D at LaGuardia. If you've been through LaGuardia lately, you certainly can see the effects of that. And I suggest if you're going to fly out of anywhere in New York in the next couple of years, consider Kennedy. Next slide. Bridge modernization. Some of the most visible projects we're doing, rebuilding the Goethals Bridge. If you come over the Goethals Bridge, you'll see it on the side of the bridge being built. There's a new bridge that's a two-span bridge, or a twin bridge rather, and one of the spans will be open early next year. The Bayonne Bridge, raising the navigational clearance program, and restoring the George. The George Washington Bridge will be completely rebuilt over the next 10 years. Next slide. The Goethals Bridge Replacement Program. Picture on the left is the existing bridge, the replacement twin bridge on the right. Next slide. Some of the pictures of the ongoing construction. Again, a twin bridge, which will have a future transit corridor in the center, 3 full lanes with shoulders. And if you've been over the existing Goethals Bridge, you probably know why we needed a new one. So it'll be a completely modernized cable stay bridge. Next slide. The Bayonne Bridge raised the roadway. One of the most technically complicated projects I've ever dealt with. Raising the roadway 65 feet, and that project is nearing completion. We'll have navigational clearance in 2017. Next slide. Next slide. The George Washington Bridge, restoring the George program. These are 11 major projects, about $2 billion, built over the next 10 years. Next slide. Surrounding the suspension system replacement. We'll replace all 592 suspender ropes. We're also replacing and repairing the main cable, not replacing, but repairing the main cable and repairing the anchor strands. Next slide. The Lincoln Tunnel Helix, we're planning to replace it. 6 to 8 options, working with the local community, working with the elected officials, engineering firms to come up with the best option. Next slide. A new Port Authority bus terminal on the west side of Manhattan. Port Authority bus terminal, as I said earlier, was built in 1950. We're going to have a new one. We got some things to do first. We had a design competition this past year, which will lead to more planning on what the best options are. And we're also doing a quality commute program to enhance and improve the experience of going through the bus terminal. Next slide. Port commerce. We have these things called marine borers. They're little fish that like wood, and they're eating our wooden piers. So we have a program that'll go on for years to rebuild our berths and our piers, at both in New Jersey and in Brooklyn. Next slide. Path is over 100 years old. Path is being upgraded, stations are being rebuilt, infrastructure, and a new signal automatic train control system is being installed and nearly complete to make Path as safe as possible. Next slide. And Sandy. Sandy affected all of us, and we're still dealing with Sandy. We're working with the federal government at FEMA and the FTA for grants to rebuild Path, Holland Tunnel, and to protect the facilities, to harden them, and have resilient structures going ahead in the future. Next slide. So the cycle starts again. We built 100 years ago, and now we continue to build for the future with new infrastructure, 2 rebuilt Staten Island crossings, a restored George Washington Bridge, a completely rebuilt LaGuardia and Terminal A in Newark, a new bus terminal on the west side of Manhattan, major improvements to Harrison and Grove Street PAD stations, a new signal system, and billions of dollars invested in the local infrastructure of our facilities to keep the assets in a state of good repair. So together we rebuild the region for a new future. Thank you.
Dr. Sohail would like to present Mr. James Starries with a word of recognition and a picture. Would like to have the lights on, please. Thank you for this important, it's a cycle. 100 years ago we built, and now we're building again. Thank you for our guest speakers for the important presentations. At this point, I'd like to present to you the recipient of our honorary award. He is the Deputy Commissioner of New York State Department of Design and Construction, Mr. Eric McFarlane. Thank you, first of all, for being here. We are very, very proud to have you, and we are very happy to present to you our honorary award. Let's have the lights, and let's have Mr. Eric McFarlane on stage. Mr. McFarlane from the other side. Thank you everyone for your attention, and again, another round of applause for our honorary award recipient, Mr. Eric McFarlane.
My friends and colleagues, I'm very happy to be here this evening, and I'm grateful to the Board of Trustees and Directors for this great honor. First of all, congratulations to the award recipients and their families, the scholarship recipient and their families, and also the award recipient, obviously. I also want to acknowledge the professionalism and dedication of members of the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects, engaged in the designing, rebuilding, and improving New York City's critical municipal assets, and also for your contribution in the maintenance of the nation's most extensive network of streets and underground infrastructure in the state of good repair for the benefit of 8 million residents of New York City. Thank you very much.
I'd like to call on Dr. Suhail to present the honorary award for Mr. Eric McFarlane. And at this point, I'd like to call on all our guest speakers, Mr. Abdullah, Mr. Wahid Albert, and Mr. Stories. You can just go in front of the podium here, there's more space. And I'd like to call on the chairman of the Board of Trustees, member of the Board of Trustees, and members of the board, executive board of directors. Please, everyone, you worked so hard, and you work so hard every year to make this organization, this association, a success, and this specific gala a success, which you do year after year. And this is the 10th year. You deserve recognition, and you deserve a big, big round of applause. So it is a special picture. Even though it's a still picture, in the future, this picture will tell a lot of how Arab American engineers and architects are impacting all aspects of this business in the Tri-State area. 10 years of success, and hopefully 10 years and 100 years more in the future. Okay, the chairman of the Board of Trustees would like to suggest, yes, okay. So you know what, we're gonna move this, okay? Beautiful picture year after year is being added to an album of memorable moments in the history made by Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects. Ladies and gentlemen, in front of you are our guest speakers, honorary award recipients, members of the Board of Trustees, and members of the Executive Board of Directors. Congratulations to each and every one of you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for everything you do for this organization. Thank you for our guest speakers. Okay, and obviously the chairman of the Board of Trustees, Mr. Maher Abdelqader, is conducting special picture op. It's never too much pictures, right? Never too much pictures. Thank you so much. At this point, we promise you that this night is not only about bridges and tunnels, This night is also about music, comedy, dance. So while you are enjoying your dinner, you will have also a performance by Freedom.ka group. They are a group of dancers who perfection the folkloric dance of Dabke, which is very well known in the Arab world. So enjoy your dinner. I'm going to ask our esteemed cameraman and photographer just to clear the area here, because in a few minutes we're going to have the Freedom Dabke group. Bon appétit.
والشباب المقبلين يتلف صاحب التبكي بالصباح بلادنا سمع صوت الشبابي والشباب يا يما عقلي بتعدى العمر
Scholarship Awards. Let's have our seats, please. Thank you so much. I really hope you enjoyed your dinner, and I really hope you're having fun, enjoying the networking, talking to each other, meeting new people, building more bridges. So once again, Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects is proud to grant 6 more scholarships this year to 6 recipients. This is something really amazing, and all of this was possible due to our sponsors. So really a big applause to all our sponsors tonight. They've been supporting Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects for so many years, and they never fail to support them year after year. So to explain more about the scholarship program, I'd like to call on Mrs. and future Dr. Nadira Najib, member of the scholarship committee. She will be talking to us about the scholarships, how they make their selections. So ladies and gentlemen, future Dr. Nadira Najib.
Thank you, Rita. Oh, two of them right now. Very nice. I think it's falling. All right. Good evening, everyone. How are you? I hope all of you are having a good evening. I have an echo. Okay, I'll hold it. Good evening, everyone. Are you having a good time right now? Are you enjoying your dinner? Very well. Up. You can hear it. Thank you, Jasmine. Just some words about the scholarship program that we have at the AAEA, and just a little bit about like the history of it, and then we'll proceed with giving the certificates to our recipients. So, since its creation in 2009, the AAEA has awarded scholarships to more than 28 recipients, and this year we are having 6 more that they're going to be receiving their certificates just in a few moments. This scholarship program has been possible because of the generosity of our sponsors. For all these years, they've been giving us and supporting us throughout all these years, and we couldn't make it without them. So the AAA has been awarding scholarships programs to multiple students from different backgrounds and different disciplines. And these students, they've been pursuing their degrees either in bachelor's degrees or master's degrees or even PhD degrees. And I am one of them. In 2012, I was fortunate enough to get a scholarship program. And right now I am a member of this scholarship committee, so you can see the progression, and I'm trying to finish my PhD. The scholarship program is really an opportunity for the students to motivate them a little bit, and in pursuing their careers, and it gives them like a push up a little bit while they are doing their bachelor's degrees or their master's degrees and their PhDs. And we have different disciplines that can be engineering, computer science, architecture, and so on. And without further ado, so we have tonight 6 recipients of the scholarship program, and they are either doing their bachelor's degrees or master's degrees or PhD degrees. I think there are 2 recipients in the PhD program. So congratulations to all of you, the recipients of this 2016 Gala Scholarship Program. And we wish you all the best of luck and a good continuation in your professional life. Thank you.
Thank you, Nadira. I'm going to ask you to remain on stage with us. I'm going to ask for your attention, undivided attention. Please, لو سمحتوا, undivided attention. And I'd like to introduce to you our first recipient, but before I do that, I'm going to ask representatives from each and every one of our sponsors. I knew someone is doing this chaos. Guess who that person was? Maher Abdelqader. This is a scholarship. This is the most important part of tonight, right? Yes, that's what everybody's been waiting for, our recipients. So I'd like to call first from HDR, Mr. Nidal Daramni, to help Nadira present the scholarship to our first recipient, Mr. Patrick Rasi. To introduce to you Patrick in few words, he's a PhD student at Columbia University in the field of civil engineering. Part of Patrick's accomplishment is creating a user-friendly software that accurately predicts the response of buildings under different types of blast loadings. During the summer of 2016, Patrick was chosen to do internship with Skidmore, Owings and Merrill, where he assisted in conducting structural and design of building projects. Mabrouk la Patrick, congratulations. Ladies and gentlemen, the first award scholarship goes to Mr. Patrick Rasi. Congratulations. Okay. And we'd like also to call on all members of the scholarship committee to be on stage with us. Mr. Shukri, please come in. Again, Nadira Najib is a great example of how the scholarship program happens and works at the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects. She herself was a recipient and now she's giving back to the association. Thank you so much for everyone. Patrick, again, Mabrouk, keep up the good work. Our second recipient, I'd like to call on Mr. Hisham Qutbi from HACS. Mr. Hisham Qutbi from HACS, one of our sponsors, obviously. Thank you again for all the sponsors, and he will be presenting the scholarship for Talib Al-Dhaynat. Talib is currently a master's degree student at the University of Bridgeport in the field of electrical engineering. He is a member. Talib, please. Congratulations, round of applause. Talib is a member of Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society and the Global Institute of Electrical Engineering. He has also his own YouTube channel where he conducts lectures to help engineering students. He is also the recipient of the Electrical Engineering MS Award in 2016 for maintaining a 4.0 average throughout his course of study. Congratulations. Mabrouk la Talib. Our third recipient of the night is Patricio Javier Flores, and we would love to ask Dr. Walid Najjar from WSP. Dr. Walid Najjar, please step on the stage. We'd love for you to present Patricio Javier with the award. Okay, we're waiting for Patricio. Where is Patricio? Where is it? Hello. And Patricio is a bachelor degree student at the University of Bridgeport in computer engineering. He received high recommendations from his advisors on his work on creating a network for a wireless home automation that will assist the handicapped with easy access to electronics and appliances at home. Wonderful. He is the recipient of the Service Award by the School of Engineering in May of 2016 and a member of the Phi Kappa Phi Honor Society. A round of applause for Patricio. Thank you. Our fourth recipient is Mohammed bin Hajj Frej, and I would like to call on Mr. Islam Abdul from AI Engineers to step on stage, please, to present Muhammad with the scholarship award. Muhammad is currently pursuing his PhD in computer and computer engineering at the University of Bridgeport. He is currently serving as an associate professor at Post University and adjunct faculty at Bridgeport University. He is a member of IEEE and the editorial board of the International Journal of Engineering and Technology. To date, he has published 5 papers and 2 posters in various engineering journals. Congratulations to Muhammad. Mabrouk, congratulations again to Muhammad bin Hajj Frej. Our next recipient is, and please forgive me if I mispronounce your name, Shiam Kumar Parikh. Did I pronounce your name right? Did I pronounce your name right? Yes? Congratulations. And I'd like to call on Mr. Abed Ghouli from Concordia, another sponsor, to be on stage with us and offer the scholarship to Mr. Parikh. Mr. Parikh is a master's degree student at the University of Bridgeport in electrical engineering with 4.0 average. Yes, this is really impressive. He worked directly with the chair of electrical engineering at the university on various projects such as designing network topology, having LAN and WAN redundancy. And here you can see how far I am from all these. Yeah? And he was also involved with community service organizations that worked on feeding starving people in India. Again, congratulations to our 5th recipient. And last but not least, I'd like to call on Dr. Suhail Al-Bahaisi he's the president, obviously, of our organizations, and he's also representing Jacobs as a sponsor for the scholarships and for the event. And the recipient of the 6th scholarship is Miss Nahla Ali. Congratulations to Nahla. She's a bachelor degree student at City College in the field of civil engineering. She received an exceptional recommendation on her academic achievements. For her exceptional work, she is the recipient of various awards, such as the Society of American Military Engineers Awards in 2015, Dr. Daniel Decker Scholarship in 2016, and the prestigious Eisenhower Scholarship from the Federal Highway Administration for her work on a New Jersey Transit Research Project. She is also a member of the American Society of Civil Engineers, CCNY chapter. Congratulations to Nahla. Please, we'd love for all the scholarship recipients, for members of the scholarship committee, president of the Arab American Associations of Engineers, our representative from all our sponsors, to please gather, the chairman of the board of trustees, our guest speakers, whoever would love to take a picture, please step in for a picture. Some of you would need to be on stage. That way the picture would be in better staged, actually. Very good. So, ladies and gentlemen, another achievement, another bridge has been built by the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects. Dr. Ibrahim Aoudi from Columbia University. Obviously, Dr. Aoudi is here with us tonight. He is the Dean of Engineering at Columbia University, member of the Arab American Association of Engineers. He is member of the Board of Directors. Am I correct, Doctor? Yes? Ladies and gentlemen, in front of you is one of the most memorable pictures. And please, let's take pictures, all of us. And actually, let's give a big round of applause for the achievement of the Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects. Congratulations to all the recipients. It's a great organization. Arab American Association of Engineers and Architects is a great it's a great organization, and the importance of which is demonstrated in the many networking opportunities that we have. Congratulations again to our scholarship recipients this year. We feel very, very proud to have such accomplished men and women, and they definitely deserve all those scholarships. Alif Mabruk. Amr, what do you say? Joy. Okay. Are you guys ready? Yes? Yes, Maher? Okay. So everybody, you have an amazing opportunity tonight to... Okay, I think we're not going to do it. No. You're fine? Okay. So, you guys, we have an amazing opportunity tonight to participate with the person who had headlined packed houses at New York City's world-famous Carnegie Hall and the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in Washington, D.C. Comedian, stand-up comedian, Maher is with us tonight. Let's say hi.
All right, thank you, Rita. Good evening. Good evening, I said. Okay, everybody sit down. Sit down. Sit down, ma'am.
Yeah, tell her sit down.
Sit down.
Sit down. Sit down.
Turn your chairs around. I don't want to talk to anybody's back. Turn around to Fuya, Jamal.
Yeah, yeah. Turn around. Everybody turn around. Look at him. Look at him. Yeah.
English better? Arabic? No? Arabic? Yeah. Or sit on the other side or whatever. Can everybody hear me? In the back, can you hear me? Okay, good. Then be quiet. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. I'll wait. All right, let's try again. Good evening. Masal khair. I'm so happy to be with you guys here tonight. Like, who was here 2 years ago when I was here? Yeah, you were here? Wonderful. Let me understand by the room. I'm going to walk out on the dance floor today because I don't want to be far from everybody. By round of applause in the room, who is Arab? Clap your hands if you're Arab. Okay. Good. Please, in the back, please keep it down. If you want to go outside, that's fine. And then if you're, who's here? Lebanese? Lebanese? Any Lebanese? You? Okay. Syrian? Engineers, not doctors? Okay. Okay. All right, Jordanians? Really? Like real Jordanians? Not us, not like us Jordanians, like real Jordanians. Like Bedouins. Okay. Any Khalishis? No? Okay, Egypt? Oh, for real? Oh, this is like Egypt land? Okay. Good. How about North Africa? Morocco, Tunisia, Algeria? Where are you from? Where are you from? Morocco. All right, Morocco. Wonderful. And then Iraq? Tunis? Iraq? And then how about like Palestinians, my people? Any of those? All right, wonderful. Wonderful. And then I see like, I see black people. I saw some black people. Black people? Where are you? There you are, sir. You're African? Oh, African, not black? There's a difference? We're Americans. We're very stupid. We don't understand. Okay, good. Any Latinos? No? Okay. And then just like regular, boring white people, where are you? I saw you. Over here, over here. Hi, sir. How are you? Good. Well, welcome to our party. Well, listen, I just want to say this. Everybody, please keep it down. If you want to talk, please. If you want to talk, do it somewhere else.
Here we go.
I want to say this. I am very happy to be in a room tonight in New York with a room full of Arabs and their friends, and you're all immigrants, and some of you legal, and some of you not. And this is Donald Trump's worst nightmare, and I love it. I love it so much. 310 million people. And these are the two that we got. And then we got one of them. I don't know which is worse. It's been a crazy year. I live up in Michigan. If anyone doesn't ever heard of Dearborn, Michigan, I live in Dearborn, Michigan. It is like the Arab Disneyland. It's like Patterson on crack. Everything is in Dearborn, Michigan. And that's where I live, and that's where I have been for the last 20 years. So I'm around Arabs all the time. And I have to say this. It is getting a little bit more. I thought things were getting better when we elected Barack Obama, because we had a Muslim president. Let me just say, before we start, let me say this. I was working in the political campaign this year. I worked for another presidential candidate. His name was Bernie Sanders. I worked for him. And not because I thought he was the best man for the job, but not only because of that, because I thought we had a Muslim president for 8 years, and it was time for a Jewish one. But we did not get it. Maybe next time. But I want to say that I am very optimistic. I really am. I think this is going to be a chance for everybody to come together. And we are now in this room, and I want to say something about being in this room full of engineers. For those of you who don't know much about the Arab culture, this is a room, what's your name, sir? What's your name? Jim? Jim, let me tell you something about Arabs, if you don't know already, okay? This is a room full of Arab engineers. These are hundreds of men and women who disappointed their parents. Right? Engineer is like number 3 on the list of things that we want them to be. Okay? Doctor number 1, president number 2, and then engineer number 3. I've never seen a group of people get so excited about bridges in my life. It was the weirdest shit. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen in my bridges. And you was up here talking about bridges and bridges. You guys were excited. I never seen anything like that in my life. It was just, I saw people in their chairs like, yeah, tell me more about the bridges. I felt like I was witnessing like a private moment among all of you. It was weird. I know all these Arab men are going to go home with their wives tonight and say, talk about the bridges. Tell me about the Venezuela. It's weird. But I am Palestinian. I'm Palestinian like Jesus. That's what I tell white people, Jim. I tell them I'm Palestinian like Jesus. That's what I'm going to tell everybody now. That's what I'll tell Donald Trump if I see him. I'm Palestinian, because Jesus was one of us. Right, Palestinians? He's one of us. We know that. He's one of us. See, Americans think he had blonde hair and blue eyes and he's from Texas, and that's not true, Jim. He's one of us, and he's the most famous man in the history of the world, right? He's one of us. Very proud of that. And Donald Trump is one of you, Jim. So, I'm sure that you're a very nice guy. Is he important, Maher? Am I trying to be nice to him? Okay.
He's very important.
White people are very important. I have to be very nice to them. Now, after 2016. Hopefully we'll still be here for a little while more, maybe a couple more years. I think it's going to be Wyoming. That's where I think he's going to send us to, Wyoming. Wyoming is the most empty state in America. So all of you Arabs start figuring out if there's good Verizon service in Wyoming. Because that's where we're all going. I don't know. But this year has been so weird in the past couple years. Now, I watch the news all the time. For those of you who don't know, we Arabs, we watch the news all the time, right? It's like a social activity for us. We get together, we make popcorn, we call our friends over, and we watch the news because we're on it. Right? It's like a reality show for us. We see ourselves. It's the only Arab show on TV is the news. We're on all the time. We would get an Oscar. If they gave out Oscars for the news, we would get an Oscar every year. Now Arabs, though, we have a special power. We can be in a news story, even if the news story has absolutely nothing to do with us. Nobody else can do this. Nobody else. Like when they come out in the news and they say, when somebody commits a crime, and it's a white guy, and they say, we can now confirm that this is not terrorism. You know what that means, right? Arabs know what that means. We hear the news with a little different ear than everybody else. We know that, Jim, you know what that means. You know not terrorism means, right, Jim? You know what it means, right? You know what it means. It means not us. That's what it means. All right? It means not us. Because when it's not us, see, when it's a white guy, they have a different word that they use for him, right? Disturbed, deranged, delusional, and depressed. that German guy that flew the plane into the side of a mountain in France and killed 200 people on the plane? Remember? Remember that guy? Right. And CNN talked to me for 2 weeks about depression. I've never seen anything like that in my life. See, we're in the news all the time. I was watching the news a couple years ago, and there was a girl from New York won Miss America. You guys remember a girl from New York won Miss America? Her name was Nina, and she's Indian. She's Indian, like from India. Okay? And she won Miss America. And when she won Miss America, everybody on Twitter went crazy. Hey, look, an Arab wins Miss America. Hey, look, a Muslim wins Miss America. And the next morning, CNN got up early in the morning, first thing in the morning, they said, hey, everybody, Nina is Hindu, she's Indian, she's not Arab, she's not Muslim, it's okay. See, that's how they talk about us on the news. So I watch the news all the time. And it is scary. It is scary. And we have to explain our culture to people as Arabs. And to our parents, we have to try to explain American culture. It's very difficult. And especially when you live with refugees. The problem with refugees, there is a problem with refugees, Jim. Let me tell you what the problem is. They're too successful. So you can't deal with these people. They're so arrogant. And my dad is a refugee, okay? He's a Palestinian refugee. He was kicked out. He grew up in a refugee camp in Jordan. And when he came to America, he didn't have anything but his education. And then he worked for a big company. And just so that he could get out of the refugee camp, he had to finish first in high school and his master's program and college. And he finished first in all of these things. And then he came to America and he did a PhD, and he worked for DuPont Chemical Company for 35 years, and they had a big house and a nice car. This is a beautiful story, right? Isn't that beautiful? But do you know how hard it is to be the son of this person? He's achieved everything. I can't impress him. Never. I remember when I was a kid, I brought home my test from school. I said, Baba, here's my test. I got a 96.
Where is the other 4?
It is hard to deal with. And my dad is a very smart man. Does anybody here, I know you guys are engineers and some of you are architects, does anybody here have a patent? Nobody? You have a patent, sir? How many? 4? Mike? I'm sure that you're a very smart man. My dad has 40 patents. A smart guy, right? He's Lebanese? Okay, that's fine. We love everybody. We're not going to talk about Lebanese people tonight. My dad has, what's your name, sir? Farouk. It's a strong Arabic name. Farouk, my dad has 40 patents. He's a smart guy, my dad. But see, he lives in America, which is the dumbest country in the world. It is. It's not me saying it. The United Nations has done studies, and they find out that Americans rank last in everything. Reading, math, science, we rank last in everything. The dumbest country in the world. Yeah, it is, Maher. It is. Turn off your phones. It is. The dumbest country. Now, look, it didn't always used to be like that. That's recent. I know why it is. Are there any, teenagers here? I saw some of you. Where are you? Yeah, you? You guys are all Arab Americans? Yeah? What's your name? First one. Mahdi? See him? He's dumb. He's American. All right? He's Arab, so he's going to be very successful. But when they're kids, that's just because it didn't always used to be like that. When I was growing up, I'm not that old, but when I was growing up, we graduated once. 12th grade. That's it. All these kids now, they graduate kindergarten, 3rd grade, 5th grade, 8th grade, all these graduations for nothing. They didn't achieve anything. Their expectations are all messed up. We have a game show in America called Are You Smarter Than a 5th Grader? That's a game show in America. And if you win, they give you $1 million. And guess what? Nobody wins. That's America. See, if you want to understand any society, you watch their game show. Does anybody ever watch a German or Japanese game show? It's the dumbest stuff you've ever seen in your life. It's grown men and women throwing eggs at each other, walking through jello. Really, really stupid stuff. Because a game show is supposed to be like you worked hard all day and then you just want to escape from reality for a couple hours, right? You want to relax. That's what a game show is. You escape from reality. But what are American game shows? Say letters and spell a word. Answer really hard questions. See, our escape from reality is intelligence. Because our reality is Donald Trump, see? But my dad is very smart. He doesn't understand certain things. And if my dad listen, my dad doesn't understand how Americans, see, my dad doesn't understand how Americans they can't name who the vice president is. They don't know where Iraq and Afghanistan are, even though we've been bombing them for 15 years. But they know every rule about baseball. Because my dad's an Arab, and he does not understand baseball. I know you Arabs, you do not understand, right, sir? You don't understand baseball. You've been here 40 years, and you have no idea what baseball is. Arabs know one sport. Soccer, that's it. It's the only sport they know. My dad understands this sport very good. He understands it. He says, okay, there is goal here. There is goal here. And you kick the ball in the goal. He says, I understand hockey. Okay, there is goal here. There is goal here. And you throw the thing into the goal. I understand basketball. You throw the ball into the goal. I understand American football. You run with the ball into the goal. But baseball, where is the goal? You don't understand. I tried to explain it to him one time. I said, Baba, it's very simple. They hit the ball, then you run from here, then you run over here, then you run over here, and then you run back here, and then you get a point. They call it a run. It's kind of like a goal. And he said, so they are already standing in the goal? That doesn't make sense to a refugee either. Like, why would you go everywhere? Just to come back. I tried to explain it to him. I said, Baba, home plate is like Palestine. And these people are Israelis. You come back. It was a hard deal the last year. The last year we had all these people around America, all these people that support Donald Trump saying to me, go back to where you came from. And I said, I'm Palestinian. I've been trying to do that for 68 years. So maybe he'll send us, I don't know. Where do you deport Palestinians to? You don't know where. I don't know. Patterson, maybe. It has been a weird year. And we have to explain our culture to people. See, we have weird things in our culture. The way we do business, it's just weird. Nobody else understands it. We have this thing in our culture. See, we have this thing. Let me borrow this chair for a second. We have a few things in our culture. We have, when people come over our house, Jim, we act weird, okay? We act in a different way than like regular American white people act. We have this thing in our culture called start leaving. Okay, let me explain to you what this is, okay? So what happens is, all the men are sitting in this room in an Arabic house that we call the salon. This is a room that's covered in plastic. It looks like a crime is about to happen. It's like a mafia room. All the men are sitting in this room. Now, then they're all sitting there, it's kind of time to leave. And then one of the wives pokes her head in, looks at her husband and says, Habibi, I think we should start leaving. Okay? Because in our culture, you don't just leave. It's a process, right? It takes about an hour. And you want to be first. You don't want to be last. So you're going to be stuck for a long time. So start leaving. then she leaves, and then about a half hour later, she sends in her little, like, 5-year-old son, and he comes and talks to the dad, and he says, Papa, Mama says that she's ready to go. And he says, okay, go tell her another thing. He's like the UN ambassador. He goes back and forth. And then they leave. Start leaving. Okay, Jim? See, white people don't do that. Arabs, you don't know that. White people, they want to get up, they want to leave. They want to get up, they don't leave. They don't start leaving. They get up, they go, they say bye, and they leave. And they don't understand our customs either. Like I remember, see, also when we want to tell people to leave, we don't tell people to leave, we tell them to stay. Which is confusing. Especially confusing to white people, they don't understand this. I remember when we were kids, my dad invited our white neighbor over to the house. And the white guy was sitting down in the salon. And then he finally looked at my dad and he says, you know, we should get going. And my dad said, no! Stay! And the white guy said, okay. 10 minutes later, he said, really, we should get going. And my dad said, no! Sit down! And he said, oh, you want me to sit? Finally, my dad freaked out. Get the hell out of my house! Okay? When we say stay, it means go. Start leaving, okay? Understand that. You start, it takes about an hour, that'd be very nice. You start leaving. That's why there's still Palestinians in Palestine today. Because Israelis came 70 years ago and they said, we are Palestinian army, and you have to go. And the Palestinians said, okay, fine, just let me start leaving. Let me say bye to everybody. It takes a while. 70 years, man. I don't know. Trump says he's going to fix it. We'll see. I watch the news all the time. I was watching the news like about a year and a half ago. See, this is the weird thing with the news, okay? The news, if you watch the news, it's not news anymore. It's like news for 5 minutes and then experts for the other 50 minutes, right? It's just news and then they have experts that talk for a really long time. But here's a weird thing about us for Arabs. This is another way that we're really screwed over in the news. See, in the news, if there's some story about black people, the experts are black. If there's a story about Latinos, the experts are Latino. And if there's a story about Arabs or Muslims, the experts are white. It's the weirdest thing. And they get our stuff wrong. Like I was watching the news, remember about a year and a half ago when those crazy people went into Paris and they killed the cartoonist in the office, remember Charlie Hebdo, remember? And I was watching the news that day. And they had a video of these guys walking on the street, and they were yelling out in Arabic in very loud voices, La ilaha illallah, La ilaha illallah, they were yelling. And there was a video there. And there was Wolf Blitzer and 3 white experts. And one of them is named Bob. Now Bob's an expert on Arabs. Why? Because he was in the CIA for 30 years. So he spied on us, basically. He spied on us, so he's an expert. And Bob said, well, we have to be very careful when they say la 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 la. Because la 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 means I will die for Allah. That's what he said on the news. Now, Jim, La ilaha illallah does not mean I will die for Allah. Okay? It means there's no God but God. It's really just a way of saying, oh my God. Arabs say it all the time, okay? It doesn't have the word I, or will, or die, or will die, or I will die. No combination of these words at all exists. Arabs, we say it all the time, right? We say it all the time, right? Like if the weather's beautiful one day, you wake up and you see the weather's beautiful, you might say, right? Right? If you were in your car and you were driving and you almost got into an accident, but you escaped at the last minute, you might say, La ilaha illallah, right? Right? For all you men, if you're walking with your friends and you see a very beautiful woman in a bikini walk by, you might Okay? Terrorism is like the least used purpose for that word. We say it all the time. But they get our stuff wrong. And they treat us different on the news. Like there was the Boston Marathon. Remember the Boston Marathon bombers? Now they were white, but they were Muslim. And when you're Muslim, you're not white. Remember, they didn't call them disturbed, deranged, delusional, or depressed. Remember they went to Chechnya. They're from Chechnya. Remember CNN went to Chechnya and they talked to their old cousins. These guys had lived in America for like 20 years. But they went to Chechnya and they put that map of Chechnya on the ground. Remember, they started walking around it on CNN all weekend. Remember? And these guys are from Chechnya. Do you know where Chechnya is? It's in the Caucasus Mountains. These guys are actual Caucasians. But it didn't matter. They were one of us. See, that's how they talk about us on the news. And I remember when Barack Obama was running for president. See, we make special appearances. This whole presidential election has been about us. And there's not one of us in the presidential election. But the whole thing has been about, and it's nothing new. It's nothing new. When Barack Obama was running for president in 2008, they said, watch out for Barack Obama. He has a Palestinian friend. That's it. And Barack Obama had to come out and deny that he has a Palestinian friend. And John McCain had a town hall meeting one day, and there's a woman walked up to the microphone, and she said, I can't trust Obama. He's an Arab. And McCain grabbed the microphone from her and said, no, ma'am. He's a decent family man. Do you see? You understand? They get our stuff wrong on the news. They talk about us all the time, even if we're not there. Like, remember in New York? Remember last summer? I think it was last summer of 2015. Remember when those guys escaped from prison in upstate New York and they were in the forest for like 2 months? Remember? Do you remember? Do you remember what I'm talking about? Do you remember? And do you remember how there was that like middle-aged white woman that worked at the prison that helped them? She brought them tools and stuff to get out. You remember? Remember? She's a criminal, right? Right? She's a criminal. But when CNN talked about her, they said, well, maybe she was infatuated. Maybe she was fascinated. Now, that same summer, there were some teenage Muslim girls. They're teenagers. They're dumb. They don't know what they're doing. Teenage Muslim girls that went and joined ISIS. And when the news talked about them, they said, what is it about their culture that makes them do this? Do you see the difference? Do you see the difference? That when these teenage girls, they're teenagers, they're students, they don't know what they're doing. When they do what they do, somehow our whole culture is to blame. But when this middle-aged white woman who knows exactly what she's doing does what she does, maybe even she's not to blame. Do you see the difference? Now, I kind of understand that sort of. Like if I go out to dinner with a white girl and she won't give me a kiss at the end of the night, I totally understand. But if I go out to dinner with an Arab girl and she won't give me a kiss at the end of the night, I say, what is it about your culture that doesn't allow you
to give me a kiss?
And I saw them arrest a kid in Texas for a clock. Did you see this stuff? Sorry, I won't curse because the little kids over there. What's the thing he's acting to that scares me? A clock. A clock! Now let's clear up a couple things about this kid. His name is Ahmed Muhammad, which doesn't help. Especially if you live in Texas. But he had a clock. That's it. A clock. A clock, sir. A clock. They tried to convict him. They tried to say he was doing a hoax bomb crime. Now let me explain to you what that is, because I'm also a law professor in Detroit, okay? Let me explain to you what a hoax bomb crime is. A hoax bomb crime is when you hold up something that's not a bomb, all right? And you say, this is a... Jim, this is just a demonstration, okay? This is just a demonstration. Don't worry, I'm going to call anybody. This is just a demonstration. If you hold up something and you say, this is a bomb, that's a crime in America, and that should be a crime in America. Don't you agree, sir? That should be a crime. You shouldn't be able to trick people into thinking that you have a bomb. That should be a crime. But it doesn't work for little Ahmed, because little Ahmed is walking around school all day saying, this is a clock. He's just a nerd, like all of you, who likes his clock. And Fox News said, oh, Fox News. Oh. Listen, don't watch Fox News if you don't have to, all right? I watch it for scientific purposes. But don't watch it if you don't have to. I have an uncle who he can't speak English very well. He can't say Fox News. He calls it Fuck Us News, which kind of makes sense. Fox News said, well, maybe they thought Ahmed had a bomb. Maybe they thought he had a bomb, so they had to arrest him because maybe they thought he had a bomb. But they did not think he had a bomb. I know that they didn't think he had a bomb because that's not what they do when they think you have a bomb. When they think you have a bomb, they evacuate the school, right? Right? When they think you have a bomb, they call in the bomb squad, right? Right? They don't take you down to the principal's office with your bomb to talk to the principal. It doesn't work like that, all right? All right? And listen, I'm an Arab, and I'm very familiar with bomb protocol. And that is not what they do. So maybe they treated him a little bit different. I know.
Something went wrong.
Tell Trump we didn't do it. I go to Palestine all the time. Has anybody here ever been to Palestine before? Yeah? I go there all the time. It's a different world over there than it is here. Like I said, the kids in America are dumb, but the kids in Palestine are smart, but in a weird way, very smart. It's very weird. Politics dominates their lives.